It's a prank, they say. But when it happens to you, are you going to accept that it's a prank in the way you want me to accept it because it's happening to me? Am I supposed to just lay down and let it happen because it's a prank and not fight back? Because when it's just a prank, I could end up dead. Do you want someone coming into your house and moving around your furniture the way you've known it for the last 6 years to be set in that very way? And then all of a sudden, your plants that are meant for indoors only are being moved outside to be threatened with death in the same way you, the owner of the plant, is being threatened with verbal assertion death every single day of your life, whether you've been living in this property or not? Do you expect that? Well, if you don't expect it, I don't accept it as it's just a prank because it's not. It's absolutely not a prank. It's a means and a way to cause harm, and it's called a prank because at the end of the day, you want to laugh at the death of a black person being murdered by a white person, or a black person being murdered by a black person because they're committing the same so called prank that leads to murder on their own terminology as well, known as black on black crime. But it's supposed to be a prank, but technically it's not. Once again, you can't have the coffee creamer. We'll show you why you can't have the coffee creamer because it has urine in it. I don't remember the coffee creamer coming from the store warm. It comes from the store cold. That's not a prank. That's a crime being committed known as food poisoning or food endangerment, which serves 13 years in prison for every act of that crime committed. That's not a prank. That's a crime. 13 years in prison, food poisoning, using the coffee creamer or the jug of milk. That's food poisoning. 13 years in prison. Switch the bread she eats with rotten bread to see if you can get the child to say, "Oh, gee, that bread is rotten. You can't eat that. Starve yourself." Food starvation, that is a crime. That is a world observational criminal crime that also serves 13 years in prison. Food starvation. Switch the bread with rotten bread so that she can't eat the food in your face. That is starvation. Homelessness is also a criminal crime. Being forced to live outside, homelessness is a criminal crime that serves 17 years in prison for making one homeless. And especially if you make one a homeless where there is proof and there is pay of the rent or the mortgage that has been completed by Farmlands Ontario through myself, that's 22 years in prison. Homelessness being made into a prank. That's 22 years in prison. Theft is 15 years in prison. It's a petty crime for a teenager, but that's 15 years in prison when it comes to theft. Murder is life in prison or the death penalty. You took someone else's life, your life must also suffer in death. Rewatch the video if you want to know what I know. If I'm such a lawyer, working with the Library of Congress, seeing as you want to come after me, knowing what I know with my black brain cells, bitch.